The next question we have is from a Mrs. Lee Kellett from Preston in the UK. And she asks us, on Facebook and other bios about the band, you list a very diverse group of influences on your music or your writing. And she asks us, does this ever lead to any confusion or conflict? Interesting question. Oh, will I kick off, or do you want to kick off, Andy?
Will you kick off?
Okay.
I'll just jump in.
Okay. I don't think no. I think when the ZAAG Band started, we decided that we were just not going to constrain ourselves by any style of music. And I think rather than probably causing confusion, I just think it's opened up our writing that we're not afraid to try things. Now, any one particular song will tend to be based in a particular style, but we don't limit ourselves to that style. So, for example, we will quite happily put some guitar on there, but then again, we'll remove the guitar and we'll use synthesizers. So, it's whatever makes a particular song work best is what we'll tend to go with. Now, the actual playing, of course, can be influenced by many different artists, many different styles, but the choice within any particular song is quite open. So we just experiment to see what works for any particular piece. I don't know. I don't. What do you think, Andy? I don't think confusion.
The reason that it doesn't cause confusion, quite simply, if you look at the list of our influences, you'll see things like Depeche Mode or Queen, Meatloaf, Rush, and people assume that those are disparate genres. In fact, all of those artists that we name tend to not sit within that one genre. Queen have done folk music, Queen have done classical music.
Yes, indeed.
As have Rush.
Indeed.
So the influences are sometimes just the sounds they use, or perhaps the way that they lay a rhythm down, things that synthesizer sounds even. So whilst our influences and our listening tastes are quite varied, it doesn't really affect what we're doing because we're not sitting within any particular genre at all.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I think, a great example of that was on Leaping Monopoly Buildings, a song called Don't Lose My Feng Shui, which started by, it was a largely Zola lyric, and when Andy and I came to do the music for it, I think it started with a sort of techno beat drum track, wasn't it? And I think I added a guitar on top of that. And then there's genius over here.
I decided to use a Chinese folk instrument. And Guzheng.
Yes.
I don't even know what it is. But it sounded like it was a sampled version of a Guzheng, whatever that happens to be.
Yeah.
And it just sounded perfect for that song.
Yeah. And but the techno didgeridoo.
The didgeridoo became the stupidest part. So I think the techno drum beat really threw me to start with. The discussion about the lyrics beforehand made me assume that this was going to be almost like a folk type song.
Yeah.
And then techno drum beat came up. So that was when we decided we would play with it.
Yeah.
And so the didgeridoo part just kind of had to be done, and it fitted again with that weirdness that went in the song. Yeah. But it works out so well.
I know. It's one of, in Django, it's actually our most popular song at the moment.
So that partly answers the previous question as well, when we talk about how sounds work together. Sometimes sounds shouldn't work together, but they still do.
Yeah, yeah. As I said, we just don't have, we try not to have preconceived ideas about things. We'll just see what works. If it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll bin it and try something new. Okay. The next question that we have is from Miss C. Hewitt from Sydney, Australia. Hello, Australia. And she writes, so you write about real people. Can I have a song written about me? Oh, well, you'd have to never say never, but when we write about real people, we need some sort of hook into them. And by that I mean some little fact about them, or something unusual about them, or something that would interest someone else. So because we don't know you personally, we couldn't write about you unless we got to know you. Now that's not to say we never would, but it doesn't. We've been asked that before, can you write a song about me? Well, we can, but we can't at the moment because we have nothing to write about. We need something to feed the writing process or to spark an idea. So I don't know if you've anything to add, Andy. It's a difficult question.
No, as you said, without knowing the person well enough, it would be difficult for us just to go, that this person exists and we like them.
Yeah.
As you say, we need a subject matter that enough people will be interested to listen to.
Yeah.
Before we can move on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm almost going to ask my own question here. That, right, let's say someone offered us £1 million to write a song about them. Okay? How would we actually go about doing that? I mean, we really probably have to interview them and just, they talk about their lives until they say something that sparks.
I think if somebody offered £1 million, we'd write a song about somebody who's a millionaire.
Hey, anyway.
which would then be us.
Which is, yeah.
But, I think we'd have to spend some time with them, definitely, to get to know their personality.
Yeah.
We don't just write, when we've written about certain people before, we don't just write about one aspect of them. We talk about, their personality, their looks, their intelligence, whatever it may be, plus whatever skill that we are focusing as a dancer, perhaps, or as a musician. So it would be entirely possible, but we'd have to know a bit about the person
we need
beforehand, and then we would have to kind of, observe them, on a daily basis for a while. Which for £1 million, I'm not going to say no. When do we get that money?
Well, I'll talk about that one. Right, thanks, Andy. The next question that we have is from a Mrs. Z. De Paula from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Hello, Brazil. And she asked, I've just noticed this, all women have been asking us questions. I just noticed that. Anyway, a female fan base have been obviously writing the emails into us. She asks us, of the ZAAG material that you have done, what are your own personal favourites and why? Oh, we might have to pause the video while we think about this.
Well,
do you have an answer yet?
I could name one quite easily, based on the question itself, what and why.
Yeah, shall we try to do two each?
Well, I'll start with this one.
Okay, okay.
I will always have to say one of my favourites is A Time To. The reason for that is how that song came about. In fact, I remember we were having a writing stroke rehearsal session, and you had gone for a break. Now, everybody had left the room at some point for a break, and I was looking through old lyrics of yours and discovered the lyrics for A Time To. Immediately, I saw them and I thought, that's a folk song, which I know possibly wasn't your idea, but in my head it went straight away to the folk song. I remember when you came back asking you why you had never put this up for a recording, to which you then explained that you had to two other members of the band, and they had sort of said, no, don't think it would work. You then played me the guitar riff and the chord structure that you're basing it on, and straight away I went, that's brilliant, I'm going to take that away and come back tomorrow with an entire structure for you, which included the bagpipes and violins, and accordion, etc., even brass parts. I just immediately saw the value of that song. And I know from conversations we've had that it isn't exactly what you planned the song to be.
No, that's perfectly true. But again, I think that's why we work so well together, because we will see different things in a song.
I basically took each verse and used it almost like a separate song.
Yes.
So the verse about the military, that has the military snares and the bagpipes in. There's a verse about colliers, so that has what sounds like a colliery brass band. Yes. So, yeah, my opinion of what the song was in a folk atmosphere, should we say, has shone right through. But again, it's still always been your lyrics and your idea.
Yeah.
And that major riff has always been yours. So.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think originally, I said all I had was the chord sequence and the main guitar riff. And in my head, that we would have been just played all the way through. Or maybe the riff and breaks or whatever, just basic chords during the verses. But as you said, you took the subject matter of each verse and kind of made it almost like self-contained.
That's the plan.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing that we did as well, there were sort of 4 characters, and I should say loosely based on our grandfathers, and the traditional industries that men of our grandfather's generation would have taken part in. And because there were 4 members of the band, we got each member of the band to effectively play a different character. So you played the military character. Zola played the initial. He started off, didn't he? That was the generic "I've just been dumped" verse. Yeah. Andy Pash played the farming character. I did the fisherman, and we all did the colliers. Yeah. So you get to try and get that choir effect on that. So yeah, I mean that's still one of my favourites as well. However, my own personal favourite is, and I think always will be, Sauji Alegria Sakinaji Todo Dia from The Wrath of Grapes. Couple reasons. Lyrically, I like the idea of doing a song that isn't what it first appears to be. So when you start listening to that, it's about a guy going to a Scotland-Brazil football game at the Emirates Stadium in North London. And it's basically having a bad day by losing his ticket, having to buy one from a tout, finding out he's in the wrong end of the ground. And from there, it goes off in a completely new direction when he basically meets the love of his life. And I won't tell you what happens in the song because I don't want to sort of steal my own thunder. But the idea of the song changes halfway through into something completely different. Musically, it was just great fun. Great fun to do. It was based on what we know as a traditional samba, but played on Western instruments. So it was a nice mix between traditional Brazilian music, but with, a sort of European, or what's a Western sound to it. So the rhythms were all samba, the sound was Western, and learning to play samba guitar was a real challenge, I have to say. No style I'd never tried before, and just as a musician, learning to play something new like that is a challenge, but once you get to an acceptable level standard, it's just a joy to be able to play that style of guitar. So that's my first personal favourite. I don't know, you have a second one, Andy?
I'm giving it a bit of thought. I'm going to go for The Man with the Uneven Stride.
Oh, okay.
Again, it's one of those, the guitar parts that both you and Andy Passion did, just worked so well together. I remember the first time I heard you both playing together, and I just thought this is going to be great. The menacing drum beat that is essentially the farmer marching up and down that field really adds to the feel of the song. And I just remember when I finally took it away to do my keyboard parts, just thinking, I don't want to ruin this. And so to complement what you were doing with the guitars, that it was more about the sound I chose to play rather than essentially copying what had already been played in parts on guitar. So it was about sound, keeping it with that farmer type feel, but not detracting from the guitars and the bass and what have you. So it was a joy to produce that song. It really was. The guitars just sounded beautiful. Just make them the best sound you possibly can, and then move onward and upward with that. I think it sticks with me forever as being such an easy song to produce, but such a joy as well to do. So yeah, that will always be up there for me as well.
Okay. My second one, I think if you ask me that on different days, you get different answers. But my answer for today, I think it has to be off the new album, Forever Hold Your Peace. And it was a song we've actually discussed a bit earlier. It course won the High Elders of the Cacavon Paternoster. And again, it's just a song that stretched me as a guitarist. As we talked about the Hungarian minor scale earlier, learning what to do with it was very interesting. And I remember because I played both the rhythm guitar and lead on that, I didn't get to hear how that song was going to sound until literally we started recording. So I knew what the backing was going to be, I knew what the lead was going to be, but once I had the two on top of each other, I thought, oh, I like that. And when Annie added the marching boots, again, it makes it sound so menacing that for me, it hit the nail on the head. That married up the sound of the music versus the subject matter of the lyric. So I think that's, for today, my second choice.
As you say, different days you'll have different choices.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like when we discuss how we listen to our own music sometimes. And I'll listen to The Wrath of Grapes for weeks on end and nothing else. And then you'll go back and listen to, perhaps the first album or, the most recent album. So, yeah, favourites change all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think, there's a few I could pick, like from the new album, Patricia Capricorn Girl. I think there's just the work that the New Forest Strings did in that was so stunning.
Now that, again...
Stunning work by them. And so that would be very much up there. From, again, The Wrath of Grapes, the introduction piece where we just did an instrumental. And I think because we just did that in one hit, didn't we, when we recorded it?
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, literally, it was Andy hit record, I started, he came in, 7 minutes later, that was the song done. And again, it worked really well as well once we added in all the thunder and lightning and set up the whole story nicely.
Yeah.
So on another day I might have picked those ones, but for the moment, and also because we're more discussing the later albums, I'm going to stick with the Coast one for my second choice. Okay. Right, and the last question that we have is from a Mr. D. Lovell from Edinburgh. Hello, Scotland. And he says, I play in a band and we've tried to record in public places with not much success. He says, what are the tricks? How do you get around the extraneous noise and or noises from the public? Now, I'll pass off to Randy, because we had a similar question last time.
Very similar question, and I answered it quite briefly, to be fair. And in this case, rather than ramble on and answer it, what I have done is I've made a video of this room that we're sitting in now is particularly difficult to record in. So I've actually made a video to show how I get around all the problems that are caused.
Oh, wow.
Computer noise, extraneous reverbs and what have you. It's a very tiring subject to go on about at times. So I think that we will follow this Q&A session with that video, which shows you how to set the room up to recording, and then how to use software, etc., to get rid of those extraneous problems that you often encounter. So that video should hopefully clarify all of these issues.
Oh, fantastic. Good stuff. And I think that's all the questions that we have this time round. So from the Grown Line in Weymouth, and before we go, I'd just like to do a few thank yous this time. The people that have helped us on the latest album. Firstly, to long-time friend of the band, Peter Lithgow, for the theremin performance, reprising his role as Paternoster, and being a photographer for the photo shoot. Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank the hand models on the front of the album cover.
Never forget that.
No. That was Carolina, Patricia, and Peter. Thank you to you all. And to David Forrester Lynch and the New Forest Springs for the fantastic work they did on Patricia Capricorn Girl. Absolutely stunning performance.
Again, marvellous performances by all.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honour to hear world-class musicians like that. Just doing what they do.
It's an honour to watch them perform like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. So thank you all. And I think that's it. So it's goodbye from George.
And it's goodbye from Andy. Thank you.
Bye.